my name's Mark, and today I guess it's the night, the evening. I'm in Costa Rica. I would show you the view outside of my window, but it's currently too dark to see, and so I don't think that'll work out very well for either of us. You want me to try? No, I'm okay, thanks though. Anyways, I was going to journal about what I've learned on this trip so far, because I've traveled a fair bit on my own now, and I think spending pretty intense time by yourself, it shows you a lot about, where you're at in life. It's a pretty good opportunity to implement change. And so here it is. So, what have I learned? That's a great question. Thank you. I think the first thing I've learned, and likely the most important, most applicable, is that spending too much time in my room is not always a good thing. So I have a hotel room, as you can see. And this is kind of a safe space, somewhere where you can go at the end of a long day, you can be by yourself, be alone, similar to a bedroom, right? Unless you share it with someone else, in which case it may not be a safe space, but typically it is. Anyways, I think I spend too much time in my safe space, and that leads to an overemphasis on the desire for comfort, because when you're in your safe space, you can do whatever you want, right? For the most part. And so a lot of times I've been just like doing nothing, right? Doing nothing's pretty good sometimes. Sometimes you need to just do nothing. But sometimes you get stuck doing nothing. And so from the hours of like 4 o'clock until like 6 o'clock, I'll just do nothing. And I think at the moment that's okay. That's good. I need to just kind of rest, do nothing. But when I go back to the real world, doing nothing ain't always gonna serve me. I think I have bigger fish to fry than to do nothing. And so, in the sense of being able to just sit down in my room for extended periods of time, I don't think that's so good for me. And so an option is to sit in a public space and do nothing. That way you're a little bit more aware of the fact that you're doing nothing. And hopefully more inclined to do something. But teach their own, right? Of course, there's always time for doing nothing. What else have I learned? I love sleep. I really love sleep, and I think at times I don't get enough of it, and so making sure that I do prioritize good, healthy sleep, and not just like, I went to bed at 10 and woke up at 8, I got 10 hours of sleep. Okay, sure, but like, what were you doing right before you went to bed? I had 5 beers and then I sat on my phone for 4 hours. Is that really so good for your sleep? Right. So, prioritizing good sleep, turning off your phone, and all of that good nonsense is super important. As I talk about sleep, I feel tired. What else? I think I can drink more water. I think we all can, but I think especially as it gets colder, the urge to drink water decreases because it's not a thirst response as much anymore. Like, you're not overheating, and so you don't really need to feel that stimulus. I really enjoy speaking Spanish. I at times forget that, but it's it's a fun way to engage your brain. What else? Overpacking. Like why overpack things on vacation? Which is tough. You never know what you're actually gonna need, and so yeah, learning how to properly pack. Um, what else? I think overconsumption of food. Um, yeah, like so at the moment, food is a little scarce. It's not scarce, but it's expensive. You have to pay about $20 for a decent meal, and so it's like, oh, better get while you can. And there's a buffet for $25, and that feels like a steal because you get to have as much food as you want. You can have whatever you want that they're serving that evening. You get to have dessert. You get a little drinky drink. Not one of those. Just like it was like a little strawberry something. There's no liquor in it, which is fine. There was some soup, salad, and so I guess knowing when you're actually hungry and not just bored, not just trying to dull off some emotions. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's also important is sitting with emotions. Um, for me, I've talked about this before, but porn, right, is a pretty good escape from my emotions, and it's a pretty good way of feeling good within, a minute or two. And so learning how to feel good without something that's so dopamine inducing. Like, I was talking about this with my mom, that clouds and the sky, especially when they look pretty, fill me with this, like, really soft feeling of contentment. But it's like, it's definitely there, right? You can't ignore the fact that it's like, oh man, I like that, right? I like that a lot. But it doesn't give you, like, this super big head rush like drugs do. It's kind of just like, oh, isn't that fascinating? I could look at that for a little bit longer. And so learning to find more things in life that give me that feeling of satisfaction, of contentment, which ain't always easy because there's like, you have to look for it, you have to kind of cultivate it, right? If the average person looks at a cloud, they're like, yeah, that's a nice cloud, and then they go back to their business. But if I look at it, I'm like, oh, I like that. I like that a lot. And I'll stare at it, and I'll do as much as I can to stare at it for as long as possible. And so I think drugs in general aren't good for me at least. They're definitely fun, but they're also definitely like an escape and a negative. They're a positive feedback loop, I think. Doesn't really matter. It's a feedback loop, and it's not always a good thing. I was gonna say the quality of the feedback loop does not make it positive or negative. A positive feedback loop means when you add to it, more gets added to it, kind of like a fire and wood. And a negative feedback loop means whenever you add to it, it actually dampens it, so like water and fire. Now you know how positive and negative feedback loops work. It's not saying, yeah, this feedback loop, it's pretty good. Anything else? Like, yes, there is more. I think maybe writing this down would also help. Um, I really enjoy traveling. I really hate sitting in traffic. I enjoy the beach a lot. I think it's a pleasant view, but I don't love the sand. Um, I enjoy looking nice. I don't look nice often enough because for 8 hours out of the day I'm working, and then for the other 4 or 5 I'm like sitting at home on the couch. And so why would I dress up just to sit on the couch? I want to be comfy at the end of the day. But then you get 2 days a week where you're like, hey, I can wear whatever I want. And on those 2 days, what are you wearing? And so, while simple, I find this outfit, I don't know, satisfactory, right? And I could definitely wear more flashiness, but this scratches the itch. And I like jewelry as well. You. See, I ate too much at dinner. I ate at like 3, and then I ate again at 6, and it just wasn't working for me. Um, there's a whole lot of people on the internet who follow me, and the other day, a hypothetical female messages me. She's like, hey, I love your content. I'm like, oh, thanks, it's really sweet. She's like, yeah, you're like really pretty too. I was like, oh my gosh, thanks, that's like really sweet. And then I was like, are you a trap? And she's like, a what? And I'm like, a trap, like a man